We'll know that we are live. And we are live.
Good.
Yeah. So come on, we're gonna hang back for a minute or so, because what happens is when we go live, people who click the little remind me button, they will get notified that we are live. So we can talk amongst ourselves, give them a chance to show up.
Yes, we can do that.
Do you have any creatures, Kamal?
2 children, do they
Creatures.
count?
Okay. Fine. Do you have huggable furry creatures or scaly ones?
No,
Okay.
not yet.
All right.
Though my children really desperately want, but I tell them the day you can take charge of them, I am okay for you to have. But sadly, my son has been diagnosed that he's allergic to cats. And my daughter loves cats.
That sucks.
Poor thing, she has to choose between the brother and cat.
I mean, cat, obviously.
Yeah, she says that too.
What's the choice?
Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, all joking aside, but no, I'm not joking. We all have priorities. I think I'm with your daughter. I look forward to meeting her so we can commiserate on cats.
Yeah.
But maybe we should get started. So, hi, everyone who is watching. I'm not sure who's watching. I don't know where you are and who you are. But hi to everyone who is joining us live. We are currently live on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, because the internet is a magical, magical place. And today, the magic of this place brings us to us. I don't know. I'm trying to be clever. I've been up for a while. Maybe I'm not that clever, but that's okay. It's not about me being clever. It's about my guest being clever. So welcome to Exactly Pressure's On. Welcome, Kamal. Good to see you.
Thank you, Magda. I'm so pleased to be in this space.
So Kamal is one of our alumni. She's what we will call a lifer at Cocharia, because you're one of our alumni, right? You've been with us, you've been through the training, then you started working with Ram's current cohort, doing a bit of work with current coach training people, clients, learners, and you're starting a new coach training program yourself. So you're technically like us, one of us as it gets.
Born and raised in Cocharia.
Exactly, born and raised in Cocharia. So you are one of us. Actually, all of you who are watching and listening are one of us. We love you. But today is about this one of us, which is Komal. And Komal is here. She's got many different interests and many amazing, wonderful skills. But today we're going to focus on one of her passions, which is ancient philosophy.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
You can just acknowledge, be like, yep, yes, Magda. Yes, crazy.
Absolutely.
So Cocharia, we say ancient philosophy, and sometimes we say Eastern philosophy, because, originally we started saying Eastern, then we realized that it's not really just Eastern, it's just ancient philosophy that I think we're very good in general at applying it into the world of coaching and learning, and leadership. And at first glance, it sounds a little wonky, like ancient philosophy in leadership, ancient philosophy in coaching, like, how is that relevant? And then you actually learn it and you go, oh yeah, there's a reason why this stuff stuck around for thousands of years. So I think Cocharia is already great at that. It's how we differentiate ourselves, frankly, in many ways. But, our regular coach training programs are just a small snippet of that. And you do a really deep dive into ancient philosophy. So maybe let's start kind of with the basics. When we say ancient philosophy or previously Eastern philosophy, what do we actually mean?
Okay. So let me first of all say that one of my decision point to choose Cocharia for my training school was the fact that apart from the Western philosophies and scientific and psychological ways, it did have this ancient Eastern philosophy as a part of curriculum. So I was really into it because born and brought up in India, and growing up, this philosophy in bits and pieces have been a part of my growing up. So it's a part of the culture where I come from. So I really can't just move away from it because I'm quite intrigued about it as well. And I like to learn from it. Coming to the idea of what is Eastern, what is ancient. Eastern is just a term which probably came into being at the colonial time, where the timelines were started from where Britain is, and then that's east and that's west. But the earth is round. There'll always be a east and west from the perspective. So that's why now we are moving away from what was called as East, which primarily includes the Hinduism, Buddhism, Zen, Taoism, and all the East Asian philosophies primarily. And Islam and Sufism is also a part of it. Now we call it ancient because these are ancient. These are the ideas and concepts and beliefs that originated, we don't even know how long back, maybe 4,000 years back or 5,000 years back. And while a lot of philosophies also sort of vanished along the time, these are the philosophies that are still being practiced, still surviving. So it's like there is some relevance to it even today, which was there like 5,000 years back. However, we can imagine how the world has changed. So there is something which is still relevant and valid with such a huge change in the world. Itself, shows how important, how significant it would be for our lives. So that's what ancient philosophy is, and we sort of explore in ancient philosophy all the ideas and beliefs of these different, though are termed as religions also at times, but really we do not just go into the rituals and practices, but go into the knowledge part of it. And of course, certain practices are also part of it, but not from a religious point of view, but purely from an exploration point of view, like a philosophical inquiry into the things.
I get that. And, I'm not religious. I'm a little bit spiritual, not really, but I was raised Roman Catholic, and I just organized religion really irks me. Different conversation, different day. But there are aspects of it that I understand, like around, when I think of the Ten Commandments, what I think of is this is like moral guidelines, and it's just a way of guiding behavior. So, I and these commonalities around these behaviors exist across all the different ancient religions. So you were raised, Hindu, I was raised Roman Catholic, but I bet you that 90% of the things that we believe makes for a good person, or how you're supposed to behave, or how we should behave with each other and treat each other with respect, like those things correlate. So in your studies, do you explore these kind of commonalities?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, you can't evade, you can't escape these commonalities, because the more you start to explore these ideas and concepts, and I primarily started exploring in when I was sort of doing on these cultural coaching programs, that on the surface, these may look very different. We express ourselves differently, we use different language, we use different words and terminology. But when you start to explore it, when you start to go deeper, and dig deeper, you'll say, oh, but it means the same thing, It means the same thing. It's saying the same thing, just in a different form. And that form comes from because these religions have come from different geographical locations and different territories, and they were basically created so that people can have a better way of life, people can have a more fulfilling way of life. And that was the prime purpose of all the religions, all the philosophies. And then what happens is, over a period of time, you forget the essence of it, and you just attach yourself to the surface, superficial expressions of those things in spaces. So that's why religion goes on to become very rigid and fanatic. But deep down, if we just stay with the philosophies, all of these, we will find that we are more common than different in so many different ways. Yeah.
So, how does this all tie into coaching?
Oh, it ties into coaching so beautifully. And so there are a few things that I have experienced I would like to share. When you train to be a coach, and there are certain and I think the you know I believe that coaching is also an inherent skill and inherent capabilities that people have. But ICF, EMCC, or all of these certification bodies, they have done such incredible work by bringing in the competencies to really describe the, like what is a coach and how is a coach different from therapist or a counselor and all of these things. And when you, as a trainer, get into the process, you start to learn all these nuances, start to understand these things. But sometimes what happens is we get caught in our own dilemmas, in our own confusions, right? For example, as a coach, you are supposed to consider a client as a whole being. What is a whole being? You'll say, you'll have some ideas that, okay, but how would you treat somebody which shows and feels like you are treating them as a whole person? What does this wholeness really means? And that is a very basic question which takes us to a philosophical kind of inquiry, that what is the wholeness, how a person is whole. And if we go to the ideas of Taoism, or we go to Zen, or we go to Hinduism, there are certain concepts and certain ideas about self, about wholeness, like the yin and yang symbol is the symbol of wholeness, though it's also a symbol of duality. All that it says is that whatever we judge the world or people as good or bad, right or wrong, it all encompasses what we normally see as contradictions are not contradictions. They All these contradictions put together create the wholeness. So if a client in a moment is saying that, oh, my life is messed up, or I'm confused, or I'm frustrated, or I have so many problems and I want something, how as a coach we are looking at the client? Are we looking at, oh, my poor thing is struggling so much? Yeah, that's what you can see and hear also. But as a coach, you would, when you look at the wholeness of the person, you say that yes, right now in this moment this person is struggling, but this person is a whole person. That means they have got everything they need right now in their life. The problem is that they're just not able to see it in the moment. And as a coach, your work is just to be there and be able to show this person their own wholeness and completeness, and they'll figure out a way for themselves. But that understanding would only come when we have seen and experienced. It just doesn't come knowing something intellectually. Because if we stay in the space of knowledge and intellect, we will always be just trying to find ways to work things. It will not happen by itself. We will not look at the client as a whole person. So, and that, Magda, interestingly, I feel is the problem in the world. Biggest problem is that we chase after knowledge, we chase after information, we chase after ways. Okay, so if this is the problem, what do I need? Models, techniques, and tools. They're all information, they're all knowledge. They do not become your way of being, they do not become your outlook, they do not become the way you be in that moment till the time you imbibe them, you become them. And that happens with the philosophical inquiries. That means you need to just move away a little bit from the cause and effect attitude, which, my God, we've all been taught throughout our schooling systems, our education system. It's the cause and effects and why and how. It is not futile. It's an interesting inquiry if you have, it keeps your mind engaged. But coaching is not just a space of mind, it's a space of whole being. So you need to move away for a moment instead of getting trapped into, okay, why my client is in problem at the moment. You just step back and say, okay, you are facing a problem, facing a challenge. Fine. What more is to it? Let's explore it right here and right now. So I have personally come to understand that when I understood this aspect of being a coach, and I started to, like an experiment it with my clients, I started to see that their quality of questions would change. Instead of asking that, why am I having these problems, or why am I not able to deal with my problems, you would come to a space where you say is that, what is it I'm missing? What is it that I'm not seeing, which is keeping me stuck in this situation? And if you explore, these questions are completely different. One question is a mind bender, which will just keep you in the rigmarole of the things. The other question is a liberating one, which is say, okay, I am at a distance from this place, and now let me explore it. Let me see, what am I not doing right? What is more that I need to see? What is more that I need to understand? It's very liberating. It's, forward moving in its own. And one thing which I so like what Ram says about self coaching is, actually, I think the coach's job is to not just continue to coach a client, but also to enable a client so that eventually, through the process, they also learn to ask the right questions to themselves. Because from that space, their self coaching sort of start to begin. So that happens when you that happened for me by exploring these ancient philosophies and these ancient ideas and concepts. And the best point of these ideas and concepts is, Magda, you do not need to put a huge research laboratory to see, what functions. All that you have to do is, this is a perspective, just play with it, consider it. It's like a design thinking method where you say, okay, so what is, let's explore this, and what if. So, okay, so for a moment, let's just try and play with another idea. What if you're not as broken as you think you are broken? What if you're whole in the moment, but still feeling broken? What is happening here? And that sort of open up people to, because one thing is, when you say, oh, I am broken, to mend is a hell of a task. It takes so much of your energy. It feels like, oh my god, it'll take me like 2 3 4 5 years and so much of therapy and all of these things to mend myself because I am broken. It is already a uphill task to achieve. How in the world are you going to achieve it? But you say, okay, fine. The idea is, I am whole, I am not broken, but I feel broken. Where is the problem? Reality is, I'm not broken if I sort of say, okay, though my mind is saying otherwise, my mind doesn't want me to feel that I'm broken or there's a problem with me. But if the idea is that I am whole, I am complete in the moment, what is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that I'm not understanding? That exploration start to happen once you have the correct perspectives and ideas. And that, I think, is something which comes from all of these ancient philosophies and ideas. And they don't need a lot of investment to play with. You just have to see if this idea works for you, if it brings you peace inside, if it enables you, if it expands you as an individual. Fair enough, go ahead with it, make this idea yours. If it doesn't, leave it and move on, explore something else. So that is what is the beauty of delving into ancient philosophy. And though I got inspired to read a lot, explore a lot, I think I don't know a lot yet. No. I only know as much as I've explored and experienced with me and my clients. There is so much more to learn. There is so much more to understand. It's like a life journey, but it's a very intriguing and expanding journey, so to say. So I'm more than happy to welcome people to open up a little bit, keep the cause and effect mindset a little side. Come ahead, experiment with ideas and just see how they work for them. And I'm sure they'll do.
This is the easiest interview I've ever had to do.
Really?
Because I'm just sitting here listening. I have to ask zero questions. Like, I just want to learn with you and from you. Kamal, I literally have zero questions, because you captured it. It's a playground
Yes.
for ideas, for thinking, and and things will happen that will happen, and that's the kind of beauty of coaching and the approach that we have at Coach Arya. Of course, when we train our coaches, of course we go through the competencies and models and things, but you're never going to go into a coaching conversation with a client and go, hold on, we are now on step 4 of this model. That's not how life works.
That doesn't happen.
Unless you're like embodying the things that you've learned.
That's exactly is the word, embodying. Exactly. That's very important. Yeah.
So, Komal, I mean, even your timing was impeccable. It's 20 minutes in. I know, right? So, for all of you who are watching and listening now, live or later, Komal is one of our alumni and now one of our trainers. So, she is doing 2 programs with us. For those of you who already are coaches, and you want to get this ancient philosophies approach, embodiment of being a coach flavor into your coaching practice, which I think, as we can hear, will be very beneficial to you and your clients, please join us for a short 10-hour program with Komal, which we are starting, I believe, end of October or early November. Yes. It's on our website, coacharia.com/events. And it's a taste. You're not going to, I think, learn everything, but that's not the point. The point is that you're going to start playing and experimenting and understanding and embodying these ideas that have been around for centuries for a reason, and apply to us because we were humans back then and we're still humans now. So please join us for that. I think it's called Ancient Philosophy in Coaching. And then for those of you who are not coaches yet or just aren't credentialed coaches, Komal is also joining us to run the Coaching Foundation program. And of course, it'll be wonderful like all of our programs are, but with Komal, you get this extra sprinkle of ancient philosophy spices. Every single program we run is a little different because we're all different people, just like our clients are different people. And we kind of co-create the programs and the feeling of the community within each program based on who is in it, who the trainer is, what their background is. So if Kamal resonates with you, come on over to Coach Arya and join Kamal for Coaching Foundation as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Kamal, anything else you want to leave us with?
Oh yeah, I just had this one thought when I was thinking in the morning about today's call, is that when I was a teenager, I was growing up, I used to have this one, in my room on the wall, this one poster that said, God grant me the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I cannot, and the wisdom to make the difference. To know the difference. To know the difference between what you can change and what you cannot change is the key, is very important. And that's where all of these ancient knowledge and philosophy take you. Wisdom.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Komal. Lovely to see you as always. And thank you everyone for joining us my morning, maybe your evening. We will be back here again next week with another one of our wonderful members of Kocharya community. So I hope to see you here. Same time, same place, 7:30 in India, 9 a.m. in Chicago, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And for now, thank you so much, Kamal. Lovely to have you with us.
Bye.